Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to learn about the fundamentals of drawing the human head. When we talk about the fundamentals, many artists get overwhelmed and discouraged because most of them are interested only in certain types of drawings, such as comics, manga, or cartoon styles. However, all of them come from the same principle. The building blocks of human illustration, aka the fundamentals, are always the same, regardless of your style preference. Such as this character here I'm drawing right now. He's not extremely realistic, it's far from it, but I'm building him in a way that I know is going to be convincing at the end. That's why I'm able to draw without another drawing first. It's all inside my head, although I'm constantly thinking about measurements. If I feel that something is a bit off, I can use the basic head proportions to help me out anytime. So, if I could illustrate a simplified journey of an artist, it would be something like the following. Here we have the starting point, which represents your first iterations with a pencil. You start when you're young mostly, and improve with practice over time. Then we have the fundamentals of drawing. It's when you already feel comfortable with drawing the basics, and start exploring the human figure, anatomy drawing, figure drawing classes, the use of photo references, and so on. This last stage is when you already know the fundamentals and feel comfortable enough to purposefully change real-life aspects of a drawing in order to build interest in the audience. This is an advanced stage. It's to go beyond realism in order to make more with less. That is why most of the artists get lost when they try to draw a specific style without knowing the fundamentals first. If you skip these stages, your style will just become the stamp of your lack of knowledge. So now that you know how it works, let's jump into the fundamentals for basic head drawing. In the front view, the first thing that I usually do is to draw a circle to set the size of the skull. Then I add a vertical center line and cut the circle in half horizontally, and then I draw another line just below. This measurement sets the placement of the eyes. Notice that the distance between both is the length of one eye. To find the distance to the chin, I draw an inverted triangle coming from the eyebrow area. The bottom of the circle touches the tip of the nose. The tip of the ears aligns with the top of the eye. The nostrils edges align with the tear duct of the eye, and the outer corner of the mouth line up with the center of the eyes. As a general rule, the eyes will always be placed at about the middle of the face. Once you start moving them up and down without any apparent reason, that's when you start to get some undesirable results. Also, you can separate the region that goes from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin into thirds. Just notice when each feature sits upon the guidelines. Notice that there's a gap between the bottom of the mouth to the top part of the chin. Same as the eyes, it's important to know these basic rules when moving the lips up and down as well, in order to avoid weird-looking characters. In the profile view, the secret is to find the center of the ear, which will serve as a guide to the rest. You just need to replicate all the same rules. Much of these guides also come in handy when you want to draw a character in a three-quarter view, even if the relationship between the features change due to the perspective. When you have a face that slightly tilts up and down, you'll notice that the guidelines will mess up. But if you're aware of the fundamentals, it will be easy to retain a realistic look. It's also important to understand the character's racial features in order to represent the different ethnic types. Take a look at this character. Due to her racial characteristics, the forehead is a bit prominent, as well as the thick lips, the slightly flattened nose, and small ears. The protruding cheekbones and slanted eyes give an exotic touch to her face. This another figure has other types of traits such as the forming of the eyebrows, the small nose, more elongated chin, and less protruding cheekbones. Those were designed in such a way that it doesn't get mixed with the same characteristics of the previous figure. Small differences can change many things from a character to another. For this next character, I drew some familiar Asian characteristics such as the type of the hair, the slanted eyes, now with the more prominent presence of the eyelids, the thin nose, and the bigger cheekbone. As you can see, you're free to change things in order to create different types of drawings. Notice that I defined better this line that goes from the cheekbone to the chin on the second character. I also drew different noses and mouths for both of them. Another thing that I did on the second character was to lift up his nose area. Notice the gap between the bottom of the nose and the guideline. You can push the proportions away from what we saw here, such as exaggerating the size of the facial features and tweak the space between them, as long as you know what you're doing. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to move heads in space in order to draw them from different angles.